So I'm most excited to have you all today. This is a very special class for me, and it came from a very different space inside of me. So I'm very glad to have all of you. And I would like to begin with a very interesting game sort of a thing. Okay. So even though here, we have both smokers and non-smokers here, but I feel if you are present in this consciousness, in this circle today, there is definitely something for you that you are going to take back with you, and that is going to help you in some way. So be open to that kind of receiving for yourself, and be open to the whole idea of smoking. Okay. And before I say anything or we talk about anything, I want to make one thing very clear, which is we are doing this from an intergenerational lens. I am not going to talk about the physicality of it. I am not going to talk about how it is a bad habit or a good habit. I'm not even going into that lens. We are not looking at it from a good or bad perspective. We are going to have a very different lens, and we are simply going to see how each smoker or each person who adapts to smoking comes from a distinct family system, from a distinct value system, and how it contributes to the whole relationship that a person develops with a cigarette. It's as simple as that. Okay, so we are going to just look at it from a systemic lens and not from any other individual or collective belief system or a social belief system. We are not going to go there. Okay. So some of the things that I say might feel a little odd or weird. Bear with me. Okay. So I would just like to know who has joined. I can see AV initials. So who is this? Can you just introduce yourself? Can you hear me? Yeah, I can't still, I think this, I hope you can hear me. Like whoever is joined in the AV initials, kindly change it to your full name and let us know if you can hear us. Okay, thank you. I'll come to you, Vandana. Okay. So we'll come to sharing examples and everything. So the first thing that I want you all to observe is, so I'm going to bring a cigarette here in this class. Okay. So you all see this cigarette. I want you all to have a look at it. Okay. Just look. Okay. And the first word that comes to you when you look at a cigarette, just connect with your body and just think of the first word that comes to you when you look at a cigarette. Whatever that word is, don't analyze and simply type it out in the chat box. One word, okay, not even a sentence. Okay, and you sip, don't focus anywhere else. Look at the cigarette. That's all. Okay, one word. So I have three of you, Nancy, Shruti, and Manas. Vandana.
Recording in progress.
Vandana, I can see a letter, which is F. So
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, okay, all right. So someone says, so I'm going to put this down and I'm going to just read your answers, okay? So trouble, harmful, shame, and the F word, right? Okay. So first thing, please notice this, how each one of you have a different word for it, right? It's not like all of you wrote the same word. For someone, it's trouble. For someone, it's harmful. For someone, it's shame. For someone, it's F word. So we all have a distinct lens, even if the object is the same, right? We all have a distinct way to look at anything. If it is like, if I remove this cigarette from here and if I show you this pen, and if I tell you what is the first word that comes to you, if I show you this phone and if I ask you what is the first word that comes to you, are you all going to write the same word? What is the possibility that all of you will write the same word? So why does that happen? Okay, we all know that it's not going to be the same, right? So we all have a distinct lens, a distinct experience, even if the object looks similar to all of you. So there are many people with many point of views all across the world. But what matters to you is how you look at it. Nothing else matters. If I look at it as beauty in my life, okay, I'm going to experience beauty when I smoke it. Or maybe just having it in my hand will give me a beauty feeling and I will not even need to light it up sometimes. You know, this is something that I do sometimes, you know, where I just have a cigarette and I don't feel like smoking it. And just having it, it gives me some feeling and I don't judge it. So before even going into intergenerational lens, the first and the primary lens that we need to know and understand is that, yes, I have a unique connection and a unique lens with an object that might look similar to so many people. Okay. So yeah, there is trouble for someone, there is harm for someone, there is shame for someone, and it can be beauty for someone. Okay. So first thing is to dropping all those judgments that we have, that we start feeling when we listen to other people's point of views. For example, if I am smoking and I think of it as beauty, and Nancy tells me that, Shruti, why are you smoking? It's trouble. I might start feeling the trouble if I am not clear of what it means to me. Okay. How Nancy feels is about Nancy. How Vishruti feels is about Vishruti. How Manas feels is about Manas. So you need to focus on your word. Okay. So for example, if Manas has written the word trouble, that is the only word you need to focus on. You don't have to worry about anybody else's point of view. That you can drop right away. What other people think is not your, prerogative at all. That is for them to look at. So the first distinction is me coming to my point of view about the object. It can be a packet of chips, it can be cold drink, it can be cigarette, it can be food, it can be absolutely anything. Okay. Okay. Now, the word that each one of us wrote, where does that word come from? Okay. Because the cigarette is not telling you anything. The cigarette is not telling you that I'm trouble or I'm shame or I'm harmful. The cigarette is silent. It does not have that capacity, that consciousness that it can think or feel. Okay. It is us as human beings who have the ability to think and feel and analyze and make judgments and point of views. So now the next question, the next inquiry is, where does this word come from? Why do I sense trouble when I look at cigarette? Why do I sense shame when I look at cigarette? Because cigarette is as neutral as any other object. What I see through the cigarette is the lens that comes from behind of me, from the system that I'm born in, from the experiences and the stories that run behind me in my family system. And I'll give you one of my examples. Okay. So I grew up in a home where my mom and dad are complete teetotalers. They don't drink, they don't smoke, none of them. And neither do they, like, it's not just not doing it, they completely detest the idea of smoking and drinking. Okay. And at the same time, I have uncles and cousins whom I have not spent much time with, but they are part of my family. And I know stories where people have smoked and they have been drunk and they have been shamed in my family and disgraced in my family. They are not looked at as, respectful individuals of the family system. And when I started smoking in my life, I had the same perception about me. I started feeling that I'm shaming, I'm bringing shame to my family. I'm bringing disgrace to my family. And it has been very heavy. In the initial few years, I used to completely detest myself, even though I could not stop myself from smoking. And the only issue I had was the lens of everyone on me. I could not understand what's happening here. I always found a set of group of friends who are always very happy with smoking, and I always had a set of family members who would always detest it. So I saw this strong divide between smokers and non-smokers. Okay, do you feel like there's a divide between smokers and non-smokers? Do you feel that? Yeah, so Anshul says yes. Do you feel as if you include smokers and non-smokers equally in your heart? Or do you think there is a distinction? Like, this is a non-smoker and this is a smoker. Do you divide them in your head? Let's hear some point of views. Yeah. Yeah. Anshul says yes. Shruti says yes. Not any clear. Okay, just observe, Manas. Okay, observe how you feel in your body. Anshul, do you have a question?
No, but just for sharing that, like I think there is there is a great divide because I feel that because I smoke and so there is this they'll come with that sense of righteousness and then they'll give that shame to me and so like keep them away. It's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how a smoker feels safe to smoke between smokers only. And whenever there's a non-smoker in the room, it feels as if, whether I should do it or I should not do it.
And it's almost like my partner is support. My partner is like, yeah, he doesn't smoke, but he's like, no, you smoke. And in that also, I sense a subtle, like you would love if I stop, but you're saying this just to say this. Like that it's not a comfortable comfort also with a non-smoker who's okay with.
Yeah, yeah. I also see, yeah, smoking does clearly distance people. Yeah. So it's almost like if I'm bringing this connection, like I'm trying to have a connection, right? When I'm smoking, it's almost like I'm connecting to the smoke and the cost that I have to pay is losing connections who don't smoke. It's almost like that sometimes. And it's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's just the collective overall impact that we are experiencing. For example, if there is a workaholic and a non-workaholic, okay, for example, say Manas, you are a workaholic and Anshul is a non-workaholic. You both will be able to sit in the same room with respect for each of your ideas in life, even though one is workaholic and one is non-workaholic. But the same thing might not be true for a smoker and a non-smoker. So when we do something which is socially approved, even if it is unique to someone else, like someone else is not doing it. For example, I am a great cook and Vishruti doesn't like to cook. I know that's not true, however. Maybe the opposite. Yeah, so let's do the opposite. So Vishruti loves to cook and I don't love to cook. So we both can still sit in the same room and we can both live our unique personality. We don't have to hide or feel troubled or shameful about it. So the first thing that we need to understand is, as a smoker first, and then I will talk to the non-smokers, okay? So as a smoker, the first thing that we need to understand is that I need to be okay with something that I am doing and is not socially approved. It's okay. It's okay. Those are the two words that you need to tell yourself genuinely from your heart, not just by the face of it. ऐसे ही नहीं बोलना है, you know, it's not like just, you know, it's like feeling this in your heart, telling yourself it's okay that I have this coping mechanism in my life, that I do this activity, and it is not approved. Sometimes we don't realize how much we bother ourselves only because it is not socially approved. It has nothing to do with good, bad, right, wrong. All the shame that we are talking about is the socialized shame. It is not real. How does it feel if I start shaming a person who is workaholic and I start giving them gyan? I don't know how to say this in English. Gyan ko English mein kya bolu? Do you say this? Like if I just start giving
like a lecture.
Yeah, if I start lecturing them about how you should not work, how you should not make so much money, how you should not, you should sit and rest, and you should live a slow life. How does it, that would not even make sense probably socially. And the same thing makes sense when you talk to a smoker. That's kind of approved. Giving lecture to someone who is smoking is approved socially. So first thing is for a smoker to release that pressure from your head, and you tell yourself, nobody, no matter what anybody tells me or thinks, I am going to tell myself it's okay, even if it's not approved. And it has to really come from your heart. It's not coming from that shoulds or, you know, I should do this. I must do this. That's again another pressure. Don't take pressure. So what happens? Why am I putting so much, focus on this? Why is it important to say it's okay? Because that is where we start accepting what we are going through. And without accepting what you are going through, there is no leveling up. There is no leveling up. If we keep rejecting what we are already experiencing, we will only derive what the society wants us to derive. It's like, it's a very subtle way of immersing and giving away your power. So why will I give away my power? Yes, I have a coping mechanism in life. Yes, it is not socially approved. But the first thing I need to do is accept it. Yet, yes, I have it. It's okay. So, and the non-smokers, the first thing is no lecture. Nobody needs lecture. Okay. You got to work on your acceptance of not creating the divide and including as if it is just a coping. So you can open up that space for people in your circle, in your family, and you can simply accept that part of you. Like, even if you are not smoking, there are these words that came up like harmful and shame. So the smokers are becoming the mirrors of those internal layers of work that you need to do, the shame that you need to probably work on, the harmful things that you are kind of overlooking, Nancy. So it's not a problem for you. If somebody else is smoking, it's their lookout, right? It's not my lookout. So why do I feel the need to have a strong point of view when somebody else is smoking? I don't need to have that. You know, why do I need to give my energy to somebody else's activity? I can instead work on dismantling the divide inside of me and include them in my heart just as anybody else in my life if they mean something important to me. Yeah, Vishruti?
So I would like to just add something to what you said for non-smokers. So at least in my case, I think when I create a divide for smokers, it's really not having acceptance for my father, the smoker part of my father,
Right.
because I can't accept that. So I can't accept someone who's close to me and smokes.
So, like I said to the smokers, like, you need to tell yourself it's okay. So you can simply work on this, Vishruti, where you visualize your father with a smoke in his hand. And you can actually, as a symbolic thing, you can have a cigarette, you can buy a cigarette, you can take it in your hand. Okay. And you can visualize, you can close your eyes and visualize your father. And you can simply tell in your heart, it's okay, Papa. You used to smoke. It's okay. I accept it. I accept it as a part of you. And it has to be like, it's just neutral. I'm not even saying any other sentence. It's just two words. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. It's your choice. I accept it. Right? And when I accept it, the shame, it will start eroding away. You don't have to work on the shame exactly, Vishruti. You need to just work on accepting it as a part of his life that he chose. And it doesn't have to come with any other point of view. It doesn't even have to make any sense logically. Why do we have to make it logical? We are talking in this space from a strictly intergenerational lens, which means it goes beyond right and wrong. It goes beyond right and wrong. It goes beyond all point of views that the society has put on it. Okay. It's almost funny how the box of the smoking, the box will have tobacco causes cancer or tobacco causes death. What is the exact sentence? I don't know if I have the box here. No, I don't have the box here. What's that? Tobacco causes painful death, I think. That's the sentence, right? Yeah. So let me make it very clear. When we are talking from intergenerational lens, tobacco is not causing anything. Okay. Tobacco is a substance. Okay. This is like a object. It cannot cause anything. It cannot do anything. It is a coping. It is a coping that we choose to help us in some way. So you know how addiction expert Dr. Gabor Mate, he always mentions that the question is never why the addiction. The question is why the pain. What inside of me is aching for this cigarette? And when I have the acceptance of my substance, I will go into deeper questions, and the curiosity of knowing myself deeper will evolve from that acceptance. So when I accepted cigarette as a coping in my life, I started asking myself, what inside of me is aching for this? What inside of me is asking for this? What is it actually giving me? No worries, Vandana. What is it actually giving me? How is it actually helping me? How do I feel just after I ash the cigarette? And what am I feeling just before I take it? You know, am I feeling restless? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling sad during that time? Am I feeling like I want to escape from some situation? You will start developing curiosity for yourself when you don't judge your own coping mechanism. If you keep judging your cigarette, your coping, how will you even understand why it is happening? So you are stuck on the first layer. You're simply stuck on the first layer. And you got to be compassionate about it. And how do we become compassionate is by saying it's okay. Even if nobody else is telling me it's okay, I'm going to tell this to myself. I don't have to look for that voice outside of me. I need to become that voice. And don't even focus on leaving it. Believe me, the more you focus on I should leave it, the more you start doing it. That's how the brain is. The only focus is how do I develop more compassion for myself and how do I accept it and evolve from here. The only thing we need is some evolution and transformation. We don't need to shame or rebuke ourselves to do that. We don't need to make it a bad thing first and then we do something about it. We can simply accept it just like we accept other things in life. Okay? If somebody tells you that air conditioning is bad, don't put air conditions in your home. You should have fans and you should have natural air all the time. Okay? And it's not a good coping mechanism. So will you start shaming yourself for having an air conditioner in your home? Because even that is having some harmful impact in your body. If you simply look at from that perspective, how things are harmful and things are not harmful. So if we try to create a list like that, the list will become very long. So you got to neutralize this object like any other object in your life. That is the first step. You cannot have special negative energy for cigarette, which you don't have for other things in life. Okay. If you have that added layer of negativity, you will get stuck there. That's not going to help you. Yeah. Okay, Nancy. Thank you for joining. Does this make sense up till now? Yeah. Make sense? Okay. So let's all of us do this activity where we sit back, and Shruti, you can think of your father when you do this. Okay. So can we just all sit back and close our eyes? And I'm going to do this with you, okay? And just keep one hand on your chest. Okay, you can keep one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And close your eyes and be comfortable and take a slow, deep, long breath. And visualize your smoker self. Visualize any instance where you are smoking a cigarette and get in touch with your body, get in touch with your hands and mouth and face and your body. And just tell yourself, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that I smoke. It's okay. I see myself and I drop all rejections. I'm choosing to be kind and compassionate with this side and this part of me. So yeah, it's okay. And I accept it. And you slowly put your hands down and you open your eyes. Okay. And next time, just try to love your hands. And I know it's a little weird, but the hands, the fingers that you use to pick up the cigarette, okay, especially the fingers where you hold it, okay, try to just, when you're not smoking and you just look at your fingers and you just try to, you know, rub your hands with each other and become aware and just have that loving energy that, yeah, I love my fingers. I love my fingers. And do this inside of you, even though it feels weird, whatever adjective comes to you. Don't think about it. This is nothing to do with your brain. Okay, your brain will give you all sorts of things about whatever I'm telling you. But this has nothing to do with the brain. You simply don't know the power of being truly kind to yourself in the first place. When you start becoming kind to the object, to the personality that smokes, to the parts of you that are getting impacted, like your lungs, you simply have, like, you put your hands on your lungs and you say, it's okay. I see you. Believe in your power, believe in your potential. Okay, don't get sucked into the belief systems that everything is destroyed now, as if my body is destroyed and my life is destroyed. God knows still where we can go in our brains, right? Anyway, there is so much socialized shame around it. There's so much stories. Like, there is a disclaimer on the box, right? Like just I said, like if you look at the box of it, it feels like, God, what am I doing to myself? So most of the people, what we do is we try to simply get away from those images instead of processing it. It's like we don't even look at it, right? Do you remember looking at the box very closely before taking out a cigarette? I don't think we do that, right? So instead of becoming fearful from these triggers, try to be more loving and accepting of your habit, of your coping. Think of it as a coping, and think about evolution. Don't think about quitting or anything. There's no such thing like quitting. Believe me when I say this. Everybody who is telling you that quit smoking or quit this or quit that, there is no such thing. There is a very different frequency to the word quit versus the word evolving or transforming. So when you sit back and you allow yourself to evolve, and you don't have to quit anything actually, that is the power you need to tap into. That gives you that space of expansion, becoming kind to yourself, going to the root of it, becoming curious about yourself, and finding answers instead of blaming and shaming. Okay. So I have not gone deeper into the intergenerational stories. Okay. So I'm going to have another session in the next month. You can actually mark dates today because I'll do this as a free circle only for next 2-3 months at least. And we are going to go deeper and probably draw out a family tree, and we'll go deeper into understanding how it works. Okay. So the first step, today's biggest takeaway is, which is the first step of having a lens which is not blaming and shaming. It's simply including that part of you. Like until we meet next month, all you do is you get in touch with your smoker self. Next time when you are smoking, okay, don't try to not look at it. Look at it. Look at your hands. Look at that cigarette and tell yourself it's okay. Tell yourself it's fine. Yeah, I have this. It has helped me. Think of the ways it has helped you in. So I've written many letters to this part of me, and I'm going to read one of the first letters that I wrote. Okay, and I will be sharing more about it as we meet, but I'm going to share the first one with you all. Okay. So this says, "Dear cigarette, you were there with me when I trusted nobody. I was at my worst and I was not alone because of you. You didn't ask or question my choices. You silently took me into your world and you helped me survive in my darkest hour of life. How can I possibly hate you? And how can I possibly blame you? You were there all this while with me. You have been like a soothing balm to my pain, and that is your contribution in my life. You helped me survive. Now, when I know how to look at my pain, how to process it, how to integrate it, I feel it is time for us to evolve from survival to expansion. Even though I don't crave for you anymore the way I did before, whenever I look at you, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the role you played in my life. Love, Shruti." Okay. So try to befriend this part of you. Okay. Write the first letter. Anything. It can be 2 sentences. It can be a long love letter. Like I recently realized कि cigarette के संग मेरा love affair ही था शायद कोई. You know, which I could not see it before, but it feels like it was like kind of a love affair only. And when I started loving myself more, I did not feel the need to continue that love affair the way it was happening. Okay. However, for somebody else, it is not necessarily like a love affair. It can be very unique. Okay. For somebody, it can be a way of shaming themselves. For somebody, it can be a way of just finding a friend or a connection. And we will go deeper. We will understand this deeper. And we will meet again, definitely. I would love to go deeper into this. So, yeah, this is all from my end today. And 2 things which I want to tell you from today is it's okay. Telling yourself again and again, it's okay. Loving your hands, your fingers that pick up the cigarette. Look at the cigarette box and evolve from that fear. Don't bother about socialized fears. Okay. And don't let that divide inside of you bother you. You don't divide yourself because of it. And please write a letter, a small letter, where you talk to this part of you that smokes. Okay, so when I say dear cigarette, it actually means dear Shruti. And when I say dear Shruti, it is that part of me that smokes. Okay, so it is that part of me that smokes. And there are so many parts of you, right? It's only one part of you that smokes. There is another part of you that drives. There is another part of you that works. There's another part of you that prays, that cooks. So there are so many parts of you. So please understand, this is a part of you and you need to befriend it. Don't think about quitting or think of it as a bad thing or anything. It will not work. And even if it works temporarily, it will probably again come back. Okay. So focus on loving yourself and actually evolving in a way that the need goes automatically. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we meet again on 16th August, which is the third Wednesday of August. Okay. And we meet at the same time, 5 p.m. I will also release a poster, but since you're here, I'm letting you know that this is going to be again on 16th August. Okay. And meanwhile, this group will be active. I would love you all to share letters, to share your experiences, how you feel when you smoke again, as in, were you able to be kinder? If not, what is happening? Feel free to share voice notes, messages, and I will get back to each one of you. Okay. Cool. So before we leave, just any takeaway, anything that you had from today, share something and then we leave. So who would like to go? So should I just say somebody's name? Or Manas, would you like to go first?
Yeah, thanks for sharing your thoughts. And um, it definitely, I mean, it definitely is a session for reflection. I mean, for me, if I conclude it in that way. Yes, acceptance really do help in the process, and uh, that is my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, like accepting it first, not trying to reject it. And it's okay. And whenever there's that fear coming up, just telling yourself it's okay.
Yeah, it took me around 8 to 9 years to finally accept that I am a smoker.
Yeah,
And since then, I have made a better peace.
yeah,
Although my cut down has not yet been so significant, but the day I realized that I'm accepting it, changed a lot for me.
yeah,
And second thing that is helping me these days is abundance.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we are not going to talk about cut down or quitting here, by the way. In this circle, we are not focusing on cutting down or quitting anything. We are focusing on organic evolution that will lead to wearing off of anything that is not serving you anymore. It will come so naturally whenever it has to come. So we go deeper into realizing, why am I doing it in the first place? What need is it serving? And how can I fulfill that need for me? And when I fulfill that, I will not even like, it's even if it is there in front of you, you won't feel like lighting it up. It's that it's possible. It's definitely possible. And you don't have to think about cutting down or quitting it. or putting a stop or controlling or being strict with yourself, that's not going to work. Even if temporarily it works, it's not a long-term solution. And we are here for long-term solution. We are not here for any cut downs or anything. Like, I don't believe in it at all. At all. It doesn't work. Okay. And yeah, and when I say I am a smoker, like even if you are not smoking, like you have stopped smoking, there's a part of you that's there inside of you, right? So I have dropped every shame when I say I am a smoker. It's just another thing of my life now. It's nothing big or small at all. So we will work on that neutrality and including ourselves. So don't work, like remove these words from your life, Manas. Cut down or quitting, or it doesn't work. Don't think about yourself and think about, okay, what can I do here? What interests me? Or what is my feeling when I'm smoking? मुझे क्या feeling आती है? Become curious about yourself instead of thinking that I'm doing something bad and I need to cut down. Don't think like that. I'm just doing something. Now, we don't have to add the words good and bad at the end of this sentence. Okay? It's just something. Like many other things. Like that air conditioner, like a packet of chips, anything. Okay? Thank you so much, Manas, for sharing. And going to Anshul. I'll come to Vishruti then. Yeah.
Sorry, I joined late, but I was like, oh no, I don't want to miss. Like, Shruti, you have been a great. You are actually, you are a goal. You are a milestone in my life. I aspire to be like you and learn from you. For me, it was those questions. No, what happens? What happens when you pick it up? And there is a very deep connection, I think, like because the script of my life is very unconventional. So I'm paving the path. There's no modeling, nothing. So I think there's a very deep connection, despite of love and loving people in life, that happens because I only smoke and the time that I enjoy my cigarette is when I'm alone. Yeah, and I'm not a social, like, oh, somebody smoking, let me smoke with them. No, that doesn't bring joy. So when I finally you made us do the visualization, I was weeping because this conflict was so big onto as if I'm not allowing myself that connection that I crave for, and I crave for it more. I'm still tearing up. But thank you so much. I did not like step into this expecting this. Thank you so much.
Do it more. Connect with that part of you. Don't shun it down. It is you. A part of you, it's as beautiful as any other part. Okay. So that's amazing. Do it more often. Go back to the recording and do it again. Okay. Keep connecting. Okay. Yeah. And I'm going to say this again. There is this thing, okay, about loving your fingers. Like when you lift it, like, also there's this thing, right, where your hands will get a little mark if you smoke a lot, like your fingers will get a mark, right? So you look at it and you love it, like kiss it if you can. And Manas, don't be shy when you do that. you got to love yourself in a very weird way. You don't have to make any sense of it. Look at your hands and you tell your hands, your fingers, that it's okay. I love you. Even if there is this mark which tells me how much I have smoked, I love this scar of me. Scars make me beautiful. It's nothing wrong or right here. It's a part of me. Okay. So I know but this is something which has helped me and so many of people like me. So I'm sharing this with you without any filter. This works. This works. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Vishruti, your takeaway. Thank you, Anshul.
So I think why I feel a divide, like I said earlier, like with smokers is like that exclusion for my father, right? And like all this while when other people were sharing, I was just thinking that the more I reject that part, the more I attract such partners. And it's so weird, Shruti, somebody will be a non-smoker, and then that person, if is my becomes my partner and would start smoking, like out of nowhere. And then I'm wondering, ho kya raha hai? And then there is this thing ki ye to nahi hoga, because I get triggered by smoking, and especially, cigarette is still okay. I'm still okay with cigarette. It's so weird about, I mean, not that okay with cigarette, but relatively, I think I just can't tolerate like that fragrance of weed. तो वो तो मतलब पता नहीं.
Yeah.
That doesn't come from my father, by the way, but I have somehow managed to, like, I won't state the number here, but attract all such partners. Yeah.
And the thing is, that's the thing. So I will attract it by personal choice or by some way in my space,
Yes.
my life and my space, because there is something there which I need to take a lesson about.
Right.
When I do it, I have also had examples, Vishruti, where people attract such partners, and when they work on themselves, their partners automatically somehow they feel that they want to evolve from there, and they're not even telling.
नहीं अपना काम तो करो, ये अपने पार्टनर का काम भी खुद करो, हद हो गई.
Oh, this is your work only. Of
I
course.
know. I'm just joking, but
It's like,
yeah. So my takeaway is this, like the realization, like a light bulb, that how this has happened. And like I also smoke, but very very rarely, occasionally, once in 2 months, like when you are in a social gathering. So ek do puff le liye, like that. So
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
So you come,
matlab, but yes,
again.
smoking has been a part of my life through my partners, definitely.
So this is amazing, accepting that part of your father and also that part of you that has detested it.
Yes.
That's going to help you, and that's also going to help you create an energy field where
Yeah.
you will have the same resonance.
So in fact, you will find it strange, Shruti. Like usually we have deal breakers in relationships or in marriage, right? So for me, deal breaker has been कि smoking तो नहीं चलेगा. Like ये तो जाना पड़ेगा इसे. अगर ये है तो जाना पड़ेगा, या ये हो ही नहीं सकता है. So it's like such a strange resistance or like rejection for it.
Yeah.
So women may have, deal breakers like cheating, etc. For me, it's smoking, like for sure. And now I know why I'm here in this session.
Amazing. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, see you all on 16th August again. All right. Okay. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you,
Thank
Shruti.
you, Shruti. Bye.
Welcome.